Hi, friends, it's Sherry. If you've ever heard the phrase, God has a plan, and felt a type of way about it, this video is for you. I hope you'll stick around. God has a plan. I've heard that phrase a lot over the years. Usually it is intended as a form of comfort. Generally, the person saying those words means them well. But I have to admit I found them problematic. Not just because I know that not everyone believes in a God or the same God. Maybe they feel a connection with spirit or no higher power. I find it a problematic phrase, both in speaking it and receiving it, because it implies that if only we were in on the plan or paid closer attention or followed the rules, that we wouldn't be struggling the way we were, that we would find a course, a path through life that didn't involve any challenge, heartache. And I need to push back on that because I don't know a single person alive who has not suffered, struggled. I don't know a single person. And I think that's the key. Because instead of thinking of it as some higher power has a plan that we are unfortunately deviating from, or maybe our pain is a part of that plan. Rather than thinking of it that way, I like to think of it as a lesson plan. That rather than giving up our agency to some higher power and saying, I give up, or our responsibility for our actions and choices, and saying, well, it's out of my hands, that these challenges can be seen as opportunities to learn something. And that's not to minimize the very real heartache and challenge and loss that some life experiences bring our way. It's to say that there are lessons we can learn through our struggles that teach us so much about how to be a better person, how to be a more compassionate person, a more loving or accepting, and not just to others, but to ourselves. I know that if I think of experiences as being a lesson, then I can look at it and ask myself, not what is the meaning of this, but what can I learn from this? And if I see it as an opportunity to learn something about how to navigate life more gently, more efficiently, so I don't have to have the same lesson presented at first as a tap on the shoulder and later as a smack across the head, that I can, in that moment of seeing it as a lesson, I can look for the teachers, look around and be open to the insights and wisdom of those around me. Maybe see who else has experienced something similar and learn from how they navigated through that struggle. Maybe I have to take a hard look inside to see not only how I got to this place of struggle, but what flaw, what limiting belief have I held on to or refused to evolve from that is holding me back in a place of struggle? Am I approaching this with too much ego and too little humility, too little self-worth and not enough self-love, too little bravery and not enough courage or authenticity? I was reminded today, in the most humbling way, that we are surrounded by teachers and we move through life as teachers. That there might be some little compliment that lifts someone up, some insight that makes it all clear, some little moment of compassion that gives someone courage. That we might not even recognize as being all that important. But days or years later, that person might come back and say, that thing you said, that time you spent with me made all the difference. We are helping each other through this crazy thing called life. We only have a limited amount of time on this swirling ball of amazement. I hope the lessons you have and are presented with are not too difficult. And I hope you open yourself up to being both taught and a teacher for others. And that when you think of there being a plan, it's a part of your plan for your life. And that's all I have for today. I hope you found it insightful. Until next time, and in case you haven't heard, I am glad you were born. And if you don't know, I'm the author of the Lighthouse Guide, Love and Advice from a Fellow Human. Not a licensed therapist, not a member of clergy, just a person offering what I can to make this road a little easier. Until next time, you take care. Bye-bye.